Good morning. It's Wednesday, April 11th. Over the next few days, we're going to highlight what some of the companies going to the Brussels Seafood Show are going to be talking about at their stands and what types of products they're going to be showcasing. What's interesting to me is Brussels this year is taking place at a time when there's a real concern about the European seafood market. Europe, of course, is looking at a more serious economic downturn and a situation that is somewhat different than what's happening in the U.S. And this could be reflected in how they approach the international seafood market. A number of years ago, the Japanese found themselves in a situation where they were continually being outbid for seafood by other buyers. And it put their traders and importers in a very difficult position because they had to face rising prices for their raw materials and a very weak and declining market demand at home. I think that in Europe we may be entering the same type of situation where the international demand for seafood is pushing up prices on things like lobster, for example, whereas the European buyers are not able to reflect those price increases into their markets. So we begin to see a disconnect between, let's say, the international value, what a Chinese buyer might pay for lobster versus what a European buyer might pay. It'll be interesting to see how these sort of cross currents play out at the show, because none of these changes take place in a sudden shift. It's a more gradual turn that takes place over several years. In terms of companies exhibiting, today we talk about Cozy Harbor, which is touting its responsible sourcing policies, including its British Retail Consortium certification and its Gulf of Maine Research Institute responsible fishing program. And we also noticed something interesting about Clearwater. Clearwater, which is known for its live lobster markets worldwide, is now selling a split frozen Nova Scotia lobster in Europe, and they're going to be featuring it at their stand in Brussels. And this particular product takes half of a lobster, then it takes out the meat from the claw and knuckle and puts that into the body cavity with the half of the tail to make a frozen item. It'll be interesting to see how the market responds to this. Clearly, Clearwater is thinking that there may be some greater interest on the part of chefs for a frozen item that might help shift away from some of the live lobster. In Lexington, Mass., this is John Sackton.